What if I told you that dangerous leadership confidence has nothing to do with feeling ready and everything to do with leading while terrified? I've worked with countless C-suite executives, guided massive transformations. I've been in boardrooms with leaders scared out of their minds, and somehow they're still leading powerfully. So if you've ever wondered how to stay calm under pressure, or how to stop second-guessing yourself, or how to build unshakable presence, here's how. The first step is the one that is by far the most important and yet almost the most overlooked by even the most successful leaders. Shadow integration, the hidden psychology sabotaging your leadership. Most leaders treat blind spots like tactical errors you can fix with coaching, training, or a tougher, higher-end decision. They either deny the depth of those blind spots or delegate them away. The mistake is believing blind spots are external performance issues when they're actually internal emotional patterns, unprocessed shame, projection, or disowned needs that drive behavior in high-stakes moments. A COO I worked with repeatedly undermined senior women on his team by micromanaging their projects. On paper, he was supportive. In practice, he kept checking in until they underperformed. He genuinely thought he was protecting the outcome. In coaching, we found a pattern from his upbringing. He associated vulnerability with chaos. His micromanaging was fear disguised as care. When you reclaim exiled parts of yourself, you stop handing power to them unconsciously. You go from reactive to consciously responsive. That unlocks authenticity, steadier relationships with direct reports, and far better decision quality under pressure because fewer hidden triggers hijack your attention. Start with timed reflection. After any strong reaction, be it anger, shame, avoidance, ask yourself, what part of me just showed up? Name it. Feel where it lives in your body. Give it one sentence of compassionate curiosity, not fixing. Then invite that part to speak its purpose. The practical steps are this. Keep a reaction log. Run brief active imagination dialogues for 10 minutes weekly and practice shadow retrieval by re-owning one disowned trait per month. For example, allow the angry part to voice its protective logic in a safe setting. Over time, you'll notice those triggers soften and your authority becomes steadier. Organizational complexity amplifies projection. When stakes are high, the team will mirror your avoided material back to you. The faster you own it, the less organizational energy is wasted on reactivity, political games, and compliance. Mastery of shadow integration is the difference between leaders who survive turbulence and leaders who transform systems. But after understanding your shadow, there is one thing that high-performing leaders will completely neglect, when in reality, it should be one of the foundational pillars of executive presence, and that is nervous system regulation, from chronic stress to calm presence. Most execs reduce stress management to sleep, gym, or mindfulness apps. Those help, but they just treat the symptoms. The real issue is chronic dysregulation, repeated sympathetic arousal that never lands. Leaders assume willpower or grit will override it, which only exhausts resources faster. A CEO I coached was famous for powering through the storm. His cortisol remained high, he burned through teams, and nights were sleepless. We mapped his stress loops, replaced one evening email habit with a 12-minute vagal reset routine, and embedded micro-regulation practices during the day. Within 6 weeks, his decision clarity improved, he slept through the night, and board meetings felt less theatrical and more strategic. Regulation widens the window of tolerance. Practically, that means shorter reaction times to crisis without panic, greater capacity for complex thought under pressure, and the ability to hold paradox. When your nervous system is your ally, you act from presence instead of panic, and your team mirrors that calm. Here are some polyvagal informed practices. 2 to 3 minute paced breathing, 4 in, 6 out. Before every meeting, heartbeat coherence breathing for 2 minutes after triggering emails, somatic titration after difficult conversations. So name the sensation, orient to the ground, and exhale. Pair these with state shifts. So a physical anchor, like pressing the thumb to the forefinger. Link that to a regulated state you practice daily. Add weekly 20-minute embodiment sessions. So slow movement, breathe, a felt sense check-in to rebuild that baseline regulation. Relaxation feels unsafe when parts of you equate rest with vulnerability or loss of control. Success often trains the nervous system to perform to be safe. The paradox is that true safety comes from presence, not performance. Integrating the story that resting is productive is a psychological and somatic relearning task. By the way, if you're an executive or CEO and you want some help implementing some of the stuff in this video, you can click the first link in the description to book a call with us and explore working together. Authentic power versus ego power, the source of unshakable confidence. People assume power equals visibility, control, or influence over others. That is ego power. It works short-term, but creates brittle leadership. True power comes from inner alignment, consistency between values, embodied presence, and action. Authentic power holds contradiction, admits limits, and still moves decisively. A regional VP commanded attention through bravado and rapid decisions. And when a crisis hit, his team split. He lost trust. Contrast that with a senior VP who consistently acknowledged uncertainty and then set clear boundaries and actions. The senior VP's team rallied because they trusted the person behind the role. Same competence, different source of power. Authentic power creates magnetic followership. It allows you to hold accountability without aggression and to invite dissent without losing authority. Teams become more resilient, innovation increases, and presence reduces the need for oversight. Use 3 litmus tests. Are your choices sourced in values or image? Do you need others' approval to act? Can you stay steady when criticized? Build daily rituals that reconnect you to values. Morning boundary setting, midday felt sense check, evening acknowledgement of one choice that aligned with your values. Communicate from limits and clarity, not from performance. Practice small acts of truth-telling to yourself and then to others. Rebuild a failure ritual, a brief, non-judgmental review after mistakes that extracts learning and recenters intention. Use exposure to vulnerability in low-stakes settings to expand tolerance. Over time, you replace conditional confidence with confidence as practice. But even with authentic power, there's something deeper that most executives never examine. And it's the very thing that keeps them trapped in reactive patterns. The origin pattern, unconscious programming limiting your potential. What most leaders get wrong about their childhood conditioning is that they either pathologize it or minimize it. Some think, I'm not my past, and then are mystified when patterns repeat. Others get stuck endlessly analyzing childhood without practical integration. The truth, origin patterns shape automatic responses. Understanding them is necessary but not sufficient. You must reparent and redesign your habits. A founder who grew up needing to perform for parental approval would overcommit to projects, never delegate, and collapse at milestones. Awareness alone didn't stop the collapse. Targeted reparenting, boundary training, and a redesigned reward system did. Knowing your origin patterns gives you the permission to rewire that default. It allows you to build systems that scaffold new behaviors, better delegation, healthier boundaries, and leadership rituals that honor rest and recovery. It also frees you to choose the leader you want to become rather than reenact the one you were taught. Give it a focused, practical proportion. 20% mapping the narrative work, 80% embodiment and behavioral redesign. Map the story, then commit to specific behavioral experiments to prove the new story. So who should and shouldn't dive into this transformational work? Those who should are leaders committed to long-term influence. Those teams keep mirroring repeating failures, and anyone who wants sustainable presence. Those who shouldn't, well, at least for now, leaders in acute crisis who need fast tactical intervention first. In that case, stabilize the system. Then we can begin deeper work. The final step is the one that ties everything together and gives your leadership true meaning beyond just business success. Purpose beyond success. Breaking free from the achievement trap. What most executives get wrong about fulfillment and meaning is that they treat fulfillment as a destination achieved by more success. That creates the next milestone treadmill. Fulfillment is a relationship to contribution and embodiment. It's not a trophy. Seeking fulfillment through outcomes is like chasing the horizon. An entrepreneur sold his company and had the lifestyle he thought he wanted. He reported a void at 2 a.m. After mapping values and realigning his day to small acts of service and craft, he rediscovered meaning. The transformation came not from another win, but reassigning identity from achiever to maker and steward. Purpose converts willpower into devotion. It reduces burnout because work becomes practice, not performance. Teams follow purpose because it extends beyond transactional incentives. People want to be part of a story bigger than themselves. Meaning is the stabilizer when markets swing and titles evaporate. It sustains presence, compassion, and long-term vision. It also makes you less dependent on external validation and more able to lead ethically in turbulent times. Here's how to break free from success emptiness disconnect that plagues many high achievers. Start with 3 practices: a daily microservice, one small act that benefits someone without ROI, a weekly soul check where you measure alignment to core values, and a monthly creative practice outside of your field. Swap one drive for results meeting per week for a conversation about contribution, craft, or legacy. Small, consistent calibrations rewire motivation. So that's everything I have on developing dangerous confidence as a leader. There's a lot here, but if you just take any one of these things that I've mentioned, then I'm sure you'll see the shifts in your leadership presence in as little as 30 days. But having said that, doing this inner work alone can be overwhelming and vulnerable. There are really 2 options you have. Do it yourself, knowing all the problems you'll face, and I wish you the very best of luck. Or work with us to develop inner peace, authentic power, and liberated fulfillment as a leader. If you pick the second option, then click the first link in the description to book a call with us and see if you qualify for our one-on-one coaching. I hope you got value from this video. Thanks for watching. Go watch the rest of the videos on my channel for more on executive transformation and leadership development. And I'll see you in the next video.